welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be something a little Today's video is going to be my 6 worst luxury purchases that I have ever made. If you do like luxury videos and you aren't already subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate if you would hit that subscribe button below and also the bell so you could be notified when I upload new videos. So this video, I decided to do it basically because I feel as though I should share my experiences with you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm going to start off in order of the least worst, even though they're all my top 6 worst luxury items. So I'm going to start off with the least worst up until my very worst luxury purchase that I have ever made in my 17 year journey of being obsessed and loving luxury items, especially handbags. So I've got my phone here so I can read my notes, and I'm going to include as many pictures as I can as I talk. The least worst, so coming in at number 6, let's do it that way. Coming in at number 6 is the Dior book tote. The reason that I have put it as my in my top 6 is for a couple of reasons. First, I did lose money on reselling it, so obviously I have sold the bag already. All the items that I'm mentioning I no longer have in my collection. I am not the kind of person that keeps things that do not inspire joy and do not bring a smile to my face. If it doesn't bring a smile to my face, if I'm not using it and I can let it go, then I let it go. And I did lose some money. But the reason that I have put it in my top 6 is I jumped the gun when it came to buying this bag. I seen it all over Instagram. It was splashed in social media. It was pushed in my face, and we all know that Dior quite lately in the past, you know, kind of year or so has really done a fantastic job of influencing us to buy their new release bags. They influenced us with the saddlebag, they influenced us with the Dior book tote, and I fell victim to the Dior book tote. I did buy the Dior saddlebag because of hype, but I don't consider that in my top 6 because I really still like that bag. Even though I sold it because the Birkin 30 came along that I got offered at the store. So that's the only reason I sold that bag. But the Dior book tote, I sold it for the Birkin 30, but I sold it because the bag didn't inspire joy and it didn't work out for me. I am a mother, you know, I've mentioned this before, I have a toddler, but that bag is ginormous. It is huge. I feel as though that bag is only suited for the type of person that travels a lot, or the kind of person that needs to carry quite a lot, at least on a regular basis. I would say at least 3 times a week they need to carry the capacity that the book tote fills. I feel as though that's suited for that kind of person. So for me, the bag is way too big, even though yes, I could use that space you know, for carrying all my daughter's things, carrying my things and that sort of thing. It was just too much, and I wasn't finding that I needed to use it on a weekly basis. I could go ahead and use another bag. I could use my Birkin 30, and I also found that that bag was very annoying to carry in a shopping center. If I wanted to go shopping and use that bag and it fit everything I needed for myself and my daughter, it was just totally annoying to carry. It'd be annoying to hang on the pram because it stuck out so large, it was ginormous. It would be annoying to carry on the shoulder because it would just be banging into people because there was so much width to that bag in proportion to my body. So yeah, that bag did not work out for me. Number 5 is my Collier de Chêne CDC, otherwise known as Hermes silver bracelet, and it was in the small model, not the smallest size because it was in silver, and the smallest size in silver is the small model, not the extra small. And it was $1,770 that I paid for it. I no longer have it in my collection. I did sell the bracelet and I lost $900 for it. So there was a loss. But the reason that I have put it in at number 5 is not just because of the loss, but because of how I went about buying it and the bad taste it sort of left in my mouth. Now, when I went to buy, I had this bracelet on my wish list. I liked it, I wanted to try it on, see how it fit. I ordered the very smallest size that you could get because I have a very small wrist. Went to the store, tried it on, and I wasn't 100% happy with it. It was quite loose on my wrist, and I generally wear my, if I'm going to stack bracelets, I like to wear my Pandora bracelet because it has a lot of sentimental charms on it. And with the Pandora bracelet, it was still too loose. They were both clanging into each other, and I wanted that kind of style of bracelet because it's quite a similar kind of bracelet to, say, the Cartier Love Bangle. Or Love Bracelet, sorry. I wanted it to fit very snug on my wrist, or at least snug enough where it wouldn't be like going up and down, up and down. But it was clanging around everywhere. I tried it on and I was like to my sales associate, oh, I don't know, can I try on the Ronde small bracelet, which is another one I had on my wish list. And she didn't have it in gold available, she didn't have it in plain silver, she only had it in white gold with diamonds. I tried it on and I actually liked that one, but they didn't have the one that I wanted. And I said, oh, I'd rather spend a little bit more money to kind of, you know, to get the one that I want. She tries to get off the Collier de Chêne bracelet. She said, I feel like this is really your style, this really suits you, this looks like it's, you know, your kind of style, a bit edgy. And I'm like, yeah, it does, you know, it is my sort of style. I do like it, but it's just, it's not fitting the way that I want it to. I kind of want it to be quite tight on my wrist. So she tries to take it off and she can't get it off. She's like, Melanie, I think that this is going to have to belong to you because I can't get it off. And she was like kind of just pushing at me to just buy it. And I succumbed to that. I was just like, okay, I like it, I'll just take it. I'll take it, I like it. It's on my wish list, I tick it off. But really, I should have listened to my instinct saying, no, you're not 100% happy with it. It's not cheap. You much rather spend more and get the other one or not get either, just to make sure that you get something that you're really 100% happy with. And yeah, it's just a typical situation with Hermes. Like generally I always buy what I love, but in that situation I wasn't 100% sold on it, but I was persuaded by my sales associate. This was a past sales associate, not a current one or anything. Number 4 is the Christian Dior Lady Dior mini bag. So this bag, I had it on my wish list. I liked that it was a mini bag. I thought it was super cute. However, I never actually went to the store to try it on, see how it was going in and out of the bag, see how it looked on me, see how I felt the sizing was. I never did that. But why I ended up buying the bag was I had a store credit with Christian Dior in Sydney, and it was because I had returned some earrings that, you know, we had deemed to be defective, and I don't like having store credits. They annoy me. I feel as though when I have a store credit, I have to use it straight away because I get paranoid that I'm just going to forget about it. And I also don't like the fact that someone else is holding my money and I have nothing for it. So I decided to get the Lady Dior Mini and have it delivered to me, pay the extra on my credit card, which was a big mistake. I should not have done that. I should have at least gone to the store to have a look at the bag, but because I don't live very close to Sydney CBD where the boutique is, I live about an hour away, it's easier for me to just get stuff delivered. So that was a big mistake, not going and actually having a look at the bag. And the reason that it didn't work out for me is because I found it really annoying to get in and out of the bag. It was just so structured and so small, it barely fit anything, but that little flap that kind of folds over and the stiffness of the bag was just so annoying to get my items in and out. I just found it very frustrating. And not only that, I had also just bought my Constance 24 in Gris Mouette, so the color was extremely similar. I did lose money on selling that, unfortunately. I paid $4,100 and I ended up losing $900. So not all too bad, could be worse. I did use the bag for probably a few months, but at the end of the day, we want to kind of get our purchases right and not have to lose money when we have to sell things that don't work out for us. But like I said, the reason that left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth is because I went around it the wrong way. I should have went to the boutique and had a look at the bag, or at least done very, very in-depth research into the bag. It was kind of a impulse buy. Coming in at number 3 is my Kelly 28 in Trench. Now I did pay a premium for this bag. I paid a premium of $2,000 above retail. I paid $16,500. $2,000 is my absolute limit when it comes to paying a premium. Sometimes I go a little bit over, but I generally don't go all too much over. I have done worse in the past, but we'll get into that later. All the prices that I'm saying are in Australian dollars, just bear that in mind. Everything I've said is in Australian dollars. And I did sell that bag for a loss of $1,500. And the reason that I sold that bag, obviously because it didn't work out for me, it was kind of a couple things. And it's a bit funny looking back on it because now I kind of feel like I was wrong about both of those things. At the time, I wasn't that fond of the yellow undertone in Trench. Trench is kind of a yellowy beige. I felt as though it kind of clashed a bit with my skin tone. My skin tone is yellow to neutral undertone, maybe slightly olive. It's like when I tan, I go very olive. At the moment I'm pasty white because it's winter. That's just how my skin is. So I kind of felt as though it clashed a little bit with my skin tone. I felt as though it didn't complement all my wardrobe choices. Looking back, if I had that bag in my collection right now, I would have absolutely no problems pairing it with outfits, as I've educated myself more on fashion and complementary colors, primary colors, and all those sorts of things. But you know, back then, for the price I paid, I wasn't 100% happy with it. I should have done more research on that color, but I really wanted to get a Kelly 28 and I wanted it to be neutral. So that was the best price that I could find in a Kelly 28 in a neutral color. Trench was also new, it was a new season color, so I was kind of bought into the hype of the new current season colors. I noticed in the resale market with Hermes, if you buy a bag in the resale market and it's a current season or just last season color, it is always a higher price than if you wait, say 2 or 3 seasons later, and even if you buy it new 2 or 3 seasons later and the person has kept it in the box, it is usually less than what it is when you buy the bag at the very early stages of it just being released or have just passed in the season. So that's something that I have noticed. It is always better, in my opinion, if you are looking to buy a Hermes bag in resale. If it's a seasonal color, try to wait at least about 2 seasons down the track before you look at buying that bag, because you will find that it will drop in price as the newer season colors come in. Also, finally, the other thing that I also feel as though I was wrong about is that I thought that the bag was too small, which is so silly looking back on it. Obviously, my daughter was much younger. I felt as though I needed to carry more in my bag. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't regret selling the bag, but it was my worst purchase because I wasn't ready for it. I didn't do enough research. I didn't understand the resale market as well as I do now. So there's quite an array of things, and that's why it was my worst purchase. So we're here at the second last item, and the second last worst luxury item that I have purchased, and it is the Trendy CC in small. I bought this, I can't even remember when. It was probably like about a couple years ago now. And the price on the Trendy CC back then was around about, I think it was $6,250, no more than $6,500 back about 2 years ago. Now the Trendy CC is like over $7,000, which is crazy. Because I like the Trendy CC, and I still do like the Trendy CC. I had a bad experience trying to buy the Trendy CC again in black, and it turned out to be a fake. So it's definitely something I like. It's something I put in my video before of the bags that I would steal from YouTubers. I would love to have another Trendy CC in my life. But the reason that this is listed in my number 2 for my worst luxury purchases is because the way I went about buying it, and also the loss I had with selling it, and the color. The reason I bought this bag, not only did I like it, but it was because I had actually bought the Gabrielle iridescent unicorn purple bag. It was like when the Gabrielle bag was still fairly new. It had only just sort of been dropped by Karl Lagerfeld, and it had only maybe run about 2 seasons already, and they came out with the unicorn Gabrielle bag. I had bought that, and then I decided it wasn't for me with my outfits that I kind of had at home. It just wasn't, it didn't work out. It didn't suit the bag, it didn't suit me. So I ended up exchanging it at the Chanel store in Sydney, and I ended up exchanging it for the Chanel Trendy, and I had to add money on. I think I had to add about $1,000 on top because I knew I liked the Chanel Trendy bag. But in the lighting in the Chanel store, as you guys would know, it's very warm, it's dim and it's warm. So the color of the Chanel Trendy that I looked at, it was in beige, I think it was beige Claire, and it looked like a beige in the store. But then when I got outside and I was, you know, using the bag, and I was enjoying using the bag, I did like the bag, I just found as though the tone in that bag was like a salmon pink. It reminded me like a salmon, like salmon fish. That's what it reminded me of. That's what the color of it was. And I'm like, this isn't beige. And it was bothering me because it was supposed to be a neutral, but then I would wear it with like an outfit and it would just look like a salmon pink. And I'm like, this isn't acting like a true beige should. Then quite frustrated with the color, and I also wanted to invest more into Hermes. So I decided, look, I'm not 100% happy with this bag. As with everything I have sold, if I'm not 100% happy with it, I let it go. That's just how I am. Even if I lose money, I just don't like keeping things I'm not 100% happy with and in love with. That's just how I am. So I sold the bag, And I tried to sell it like on Facebook groups. I tried to sell it on eBay. Back then Vestiaire Collective wasn't offering to Australia, so I ended up consigning it with Anne's Fabulous Finds. They couldn't sell it, so I ended up asking them, look, can you just do a buyout for it, because it's not selling. It's been like a couple months. The buyout price of $4,300 Australian, so that means I lost like 1,950 Australian, so just under $2,000 I lost on selling that bag, which is quite a hefty loss, especially for a Chanel bag, when it's like, I mean, Hermes is way more expensive than Chanel. Chanel is very expensive too, but usually with Chanel you don't lose that much. However, if I had kept the bag, I probably wouldn't have lost that much, because now the trendy CC has gained popularity and it has gone up a lot more in price. So that was a bit unfortunate that the color didn't work out for me. It's really a lesson to be learned that don't just trust the judgment of the Chanel store. If you're going to the boutique, I advise just do research on Instagram, have a look at multiple photos of the color on Instagram. There are lots and lots more information now, a lot more these days. There probably was when I bought the bag 2 years ago, and I just didn't really think into researching the color. Coming in at number 1, my very worst luxury purchase, and it's an Hermes bag. It's the Constance 24 in Gris Mouette Epsom leather palladium hardware. I had a love-hate relationship with this bag, and even now when I look at photos of me wearing this bag, I think, why did I sell it? But then I remember, God, that bag annoyed the absolute crap out of me. Like, it's hard to explain because obviously you're not in my shoes, but oh man, that bag annoyed me so many times, I swear. Oh, see what I mean? I even get annoyed with it. I get annoyed with the bag, and I get annoyed with it for a multiple of reasons, and that's why it comes in at number 1. Because not only do I get annoyed with the bag itself, it was in Epsom leather, okay? So we all know that I'm not a huge fan of Epsom leather. It's quite obvious, I've made that very clear on my channel. I like what Epsom offers when it comes to structure, but there are a lot of things that bug me about that bag, about that leather on that bag. So the Constance is a very structured bag. It's very firmly shaped. It's like a square little box. And Epsom is a very structured leather. So let's say, for example, okay, let's just paint a picture here. Let's paint a picture. If I had an Epsom Evelyne would not be anywhere near as firm, like firmly structured as what it is on a Constance. On an Evelyne, if you have Epsom on an Evelyne, it is not double lined, it is just the single layer of Epsom leather, and that means that the leather behaves differently. It feels more supple. Even though it's a more firmer leather, it feels more supple because it doesn't have the additional backing to support that firmness. So you lose a lot of the firmness to the leather. But when you have that additional lining, and in a very structured bag where the stitching is on the outside of the bag, you're creating structure. So Epsom already is a firmer leather. The Constance 24 is a double lined bag, like with the Birkin and the Kelly, and the stitching is on the outside, which creates structure. So you have all those things that give you a very structured bag with that leather combination. And what I would find is that because it was so firm and structured, it was quite easy for me to scratch the bag when I was taking the buckle off the bag. When I was just basically doing anything, I just managed to scratch the crap out of that bag. I don't know how, but I did. And I didn't even use that bag all that much in comparison to like my Kelly 25. I did own the Constance 24 for longer. I did use it a fair bit, but on, let's say, on the amount of time I own the Constance 24 versus the amount of time I've owned the Kelly 25, I still have used the Kelly 25 way more than I ever used the Constance 24, but I managed to scratch the absolute crap out of the Constance 24. Even though the scratches weren't obvious, I could see them, and they were just scattered all everywhere, just these white little dots all over the place. The other thing was, because of the firmness to the bag, I found it really annoying where it would it was like carrying a square box, bulky brick, not a brick because it wasn't really that heavy, but it was, but it was like, it was an obvious thing that was there. It was like my bag was always swinging in the wind like a box being attached to me. Just, that's how it felt. It was like I had a box attached to me, and it didn't hug my body. It just sat there. When I would put my daughter in and out of the car, because of the weighting of the buckle and because the leather was so firm and it wasn't hugging to my body, whereas a softer leather, even in a structured bag, has a bit more, it has more of an ability to be malleable to your body. I did pay a premium for that bag. I paid more than I usually typically would for a bag, but I really love that color. And this comes down again to the point I was saying before. If you are going to buy an Hermes bag in the resale market, wait at least 2 to, I would say 3 seasons, sorry. I think I said 3 seasons earlier. Wait 3 seasons for that seasonal color to have passed, and then look for the bag in the resale market. Even if it's pre-loved, even if it's new, it's going to be less than what it was when the color has just released. With Green Moet, it was one of those colors that would even retain value up to 3 seasons later. But now it's been around about, I think it's been about 8 seasons down the line, and now I'm seeing Green Moet for less in the resale market. It's less than what it was. It's still a high premium, it's still a popular color, but it's less than what it was. So I bought it at the wrong time. I now have learned a lot when it comes to shopping in the resale market, and I paid $17,000 for that bag. And I believe the retail would have been about $14,000 at the time that I bought it. Around about $14,000, maybe $14,500 at the very most, but I think it was in the low $14,000s. So I already paid over the $2,000 premium, almost $3,000 in a premium, which is a no-no for me. I don't like to do that. I had to sell it on Vestiaire Collective, and I was just getting way too many lowball offers. It just wasn't even worth selling. Like, I would have only got like $9,000 Australian. Those are the kind of offers I was getting. I was like, yeah, no. I tried to sell it on eBay. I thought I had a genuine buyer. She turned out to be a fraudster. I can't give details on here because of, you know, privacy information. And she ended up like paying for my bag, and I went to ship it, and then she changed her mind and cancelled, gave a lie story that she had furniture damaged or something in her move, which is a lie, because I ended up reporting her to the police because she had tried to threaten me to back out of the transaction, because I didn't want to back out, contacting the police and reporting her for like threatening me and cyberbullying. And then it turns out, because the police rung me and they go, oh, we're quite familiar with her, we know her. She's actually been charged with fraud on 2 occasions. So I ended up consigning with Anne's Fabulous Finds. They have a good turnover when it comes to Hermes bags, which is good. And it sold on their website for, I think it was 10,500 USD. But after their fees and after the PayPal currency exchange, I made the mistake of taking PayPal payment. I should have taken bank transfer because PayPal has a horrible currency exchange. I ended up losing 4,800 Australian dollars. So almost $5,000 I lost by selling that bag. Whew. Not cool. That wraps up everything in my story time as well. That wraps up the six worst purchases in the luxury department that I have ever made in my lifetime. The ones that have left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But essentially, overall in the scheme of things, I have learned a lot from what I have, you know, experience with these 6 items. They really had their own lessons with them. They left a sour taste, but they had a lot of lessons to go with it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.